Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh continues. 2 deaths in 24 hours takes the toll to 6 deaths in 18 days. Venezuela's Maduro pleads not guilty in US court, while Delcy Rodriguez sworn in as country's interim president. United Nations Security Council divided as crisis deepens. Greenland dismisses US takeover fears amid Trump's remarks. European countries voice support for Denmark. Thailand accuses Cambodia of fresh cross-border fire, violating 10-day-old truce between both the nations. 1 soldier injured in mortar shellings. And India's Homebound inches closer to Oscar recognition after earning a spot among the 15 films shortlisted for the International Feature Film category. Yet another atrocity against Hindus has come to light in Bangladesh. This time, a Hindu woman has alleged that she was gang raped, tied to a tree and brutally tortured in Kaliganj Upzila of Jhenaida district on Monday. Officer in charge Jalal Hussain said the incident took place on December 31st, but the complaint was filed later as the victim was undergoing treatment in hospital. The woman was rescued in a critically injured condition and admitted to hospital. One accused has been arrested and police are continuing the investigation. In another incident, a Hindu businessman who was also the acting editor of a newspaper was fatally shot in the head by unidentified assailants on Monday in Jessore district in southern Bangladesh. The shooting marks the latest in a spate of violent incidents against minorities in the country, especially the Hindu community members. An investigation was launched into the incident. Bangladesh has been witnessing widespread unrest since the death of Sharif Usman Hadi in December. Hadi, a prominent political activist and youth leader associated with Inqilab Manch, a political platform that played a major role in 2024 uprising that led to the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, was set to contest February polls in Bangladesh when he was shot in broad daylight. Hadi later succumbed to his injuries at a hospital in Singapore. Atrocities against minorities are continuing unabated in Bangladesh. 6 Hindus have been killed in the rest of the nation in past 18 days. Monday's killing, in which a businessman was shot dead, marks the latest in a series of violent incidents against minorities in Bangladesh, especially Hindus. On 31st December, a Hindu woman in Jhenaida district was raped. When she screamed, they tied her to a tree, cut off her hair, recorded the act and circulated videos on social media. The horrific incident came to light on Monday. Days before that, Kokon Chandradas, aged 50 was brutally attacked and set on fire in his village 150 kilometers from the national capital Dhaka. Bajendra Biswas, another Hindu man, was shot dead in Mymensingh on December 29. He was killed while on duty at a garment factory by a colleague in Bhaluka. On December 24th, a 29-year-old Hindu man, Amrit Mondal, was lynched over alleged extortion in Rajbari. On December 18, Deepu Chandradas was lynched by a mob and his body was set on fire over alleged blasphemy in Mymensingh. The lynching of Das, who worked in a factory, drew the world's attention to the killing of Hindus in Bangladesh administered by Muhammad Yunus. Moving on, after a successful visit to France, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar arrived in Luxembourg, where he will hold discussions with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Xavier Bettel of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, and with the senior leadership of Luxembourg. He will also be interacting with the members of the Indian community in Luxembourg. During his visit to France, External Affairs Minister met International Energy Agency Executive Director Fatih Birol and discussed global energy issues including oil markets and nuclear power. Birol appreciated his assessment of the global energy scenario and extended his support for India's growth and development. During his visit, the minister also interacted with participants of the French-Indian Young Talents Programme by Chamber of Commerce and Industry France-India in Paris. He discussed the transformations underway in the world and the importance of India-France collaboration in that context. A major cultural and civic milestone in Johannesburg's North Riding is bringing the Indian diaspora into the spotlight as a monumental bronze statue is unveiled at the PAPS Hindu Temple and Cultural Complex.
The Bocha Sanwasi Shri Akshar Purushottam Sanstha Hindu Mandir and Cultural Complex consecrated a 42-foot bronze image of Nilkant Varni, a revered 18th century yogi and spiritual luminary, in a moment drawing pride and participation from the Indian community. Rising prominently at the entrance of the mandir, the statue is the tallest bronze image in South Africa and among the most striking public monuments on the African continent. For many in the Indian diaspora, it is more than a religious symbol. It is a powerful touchstone of heritage, identity and shared values. Depicted in Vrikshasana, a yogic posture balancing on one leg, the sacred image embodies self-discipline, perseverance, mental focus, and service to society, qualities which resonate deeply with a community navigating life far from its ancestral homeland. Cast primarily in copper and brass and weighing approximately 20 tons, the statue's single-leg stance represents both an extraordinary engineering feat and a spiritual metaphor, steadiness amidst life's pressures.
A young yogi, a teenage yogi, Nilakant meaning the fearless one, he was chosen because his story of determination, leaving home at a very young age, searching for dialogue, searching for opportunities to serve, and searching for deeper meaning throughout pilgrimage places in India, serve as inspiration for anyone who is willing to embark on a journey of any nature. Nilkant actually practiced Vrikshasana out of compassion. His prayer on one foot was for the goodness of all beings. It wasn't only the happiness of welfare of human beings, but for all living entities. Nilkant was able to apply himself, apply his discipline and his steadfastness of mind, so others may benefit from his austerities. So my personal opinion is his compassion of taking 4 months out of his own pursuits for the good of others in such a prayerful manner is the greatest virtue.
The consecration was led by His Holiness Swayam Prakash Swami, also known as Dr. Swami, a senior BAPS monk respected worldwide. The statue honors Nilkant Varni's 7-year teenage pilgrimage across India, including his 4-month meditation on one leg at Muktinath in the Himalayas, where he prayed for peace and well-being for all.
स्वामीनारायण महामंत्रनी धून करीशु स्वामीनारायण 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 स्वामीनारायण.
For the Indian diaspora in South Africa, the monument stands as a symbol of continuity, a bridge between heritage and the present, reminding younger generations of values rooted in discipline, service and moral courage. The unveiling brought together the Indian diaspora across South Africa, celebrating heritage, culture and shared values. For DD India, South Africa, I'm Nazneen. Today we stand steady. One leg, one vision, one purpose.
And the India Met Department forecast persistent dense fog blanketing northwest, central, east and northeast India, with cold day conditions intensifying in isolated pockets of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Rajasthan and Jharkhand as minimum temperatures could drop further amid weak western disturbances. Recent dense fog episodes with visibility dipping to 0 meters in parts of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh signal ongoing transport disruptions and public safety risk. IMD urges caution for travel, agriculture and vulnerable populations, recommending warm clothing and fog lights. Relief appears unlikely before January 8 in northern plains, testing winter resilience amid climate variability. Tabo in the Lahore and Spiti district of Himachal Pradesh and the Gulmarg in Jammu and Kashmir witnessed the coldest night of the year, with the temperatures at both places closer to 10 degrees below freezing point. Light rain and snowfall is also expected in isolated parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal and Uttarakhand on Tuesday. In Bhopal, a cricket tournament is turning heads by blending sport with tradition. Players from Vedic institutions are competing in traditional dhoti kurta attire with match commentary delivered in Sanskrit. Organizers say the event aims to promote the ancient language and participation is limited to players who can recite Vedic mantras. Let's take a look.
In a unique blend of culture and sport, a cricket tournament is underway at Ankur Khel Parisar in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, where players compete in traditional dhoti kurta attire instead of conventional cricket jerseys. The participants, drawn from various Vedic universities and schools, represent a diverse group of young athletes committed to both sporting excellence and the preservation of traditions. Adding to the event's distinct character, match commentary is delivered in Sanskrit, reflecting the organizers' vision to promote the ancient language.
ये हमारा करने का एक उद्देश्य है कि संस्कृत को बढ़ावा देने के लिए ये धोती कुर्ता हम इसलिए खेल रहे हैं कि भाई संस्कृत भाषा है, सभी भाषाओं की जननी भाषा है, वो संस्कृत भाषा में भी टूर्नामेंट कोई प्रतियोगिता हो सकती है.
According to the organizers, participation is exclusive, limited to players who can recite Sanskrit mantras.
हमारी ये संस्कृति आप देख सकते हैं, जो धोत वस्त्र में यहाँ पे ये पहन के खेल रहे हैं, वो हमारी संस्कृति है. देव भाषा संस्कृत का प्रचार करना, संस्कृति का प्रसार करना इसका मुख्य उद्देश्य है. उनका चयन केवल उनके मंत्रोच्चारण के उच्चारण कौशल के देखते हुए उनका चयन करते हैं, उनको ही यहाँ पे खेलने का अवसर दिया जाता है. अन्यथा उनका भी बाहर हम भेजते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बिना उच्चारण किए वैदिक मंत्रों का यहाँ पे अवसर किसी को नहीं मिलता है.
This one-of-a-kind event blends heritage, language and sport, using cricket, a game loved across the country, to celebrate India's rich cultural legacy.
Dubai will host the third International Ayush Conference and exhibition from 15 to 17 February, bringing together practitioners, researchers, policymakers, industry representatives and students from more than 35 countries. The conference is themed Evidence-Based Ayush Interventions in Mind-Body Health and aims to promote Ayush as a recognized healthcare system. It will include about 75 invited talks, 250 oral presentations, 200 poster sessions and a short film festival on Ayush systems of medicine. More than 1,200 delegates are expected to attend. The event is being organized by Science India Forum in association with the World Ayurveda Foundation under the patronage of India's Ministry of Ayush and the Consulate General of India in Dubai, with support from the Global Homeopathic Foundation, the Emirates Ayurveda Graduates Association.
We are expecting the presence of Honorable Minister of Ayush and the Secretary of Ayush for the conference. This opened the opportunity for a government-to-government level communication and a possibility of bilateral collaboration in the field of Ayush. We are aiming for one of the largest and the finest Ayush conferences outside India ever happened.
All right, we are slipping into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India Live.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. The ousted Venezuelan leader and his wife pleaded not guilty to drug and weapons charges in a New York courtroom. The appearance comes 2 days after the United States captured Maduro and his wife Celia Flores in a military attack.
Ousted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro made his first U.S. court appearance in New York, pleading not guilty to federal charges. He also insisted he's still in charge as Venezuela's president. Maduro's wife, Celia Flores, also pleaded not guilty to charges in the same hearing. Maduro is facing charges of narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and weapon charges. The judge ordered both to remain behind bars and set a new hearing date of March 17th. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio briefed members of Congress regarding the U.S. military intervention in Venezuela, prompting a divided response from lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer criticized the administration's plans, calling them vague and unsatisfying.
Well, this briefing, while very extensive and long, posed far more questions than it ever answered. Their plan for the U.S. running Venezuela is vague, based on wishful thinking, and unsatisfying.
The U.S. military operation in Venezuela was a decisive and justified action. Nicolas Maduro is responsible for the deaths of untold thousands of Americans after years of trafficking illegal drugs and violent cartel members into our country.
House Speaker Mike Johnson defended the operation, citing the detention of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro as a victory. U.S. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said the Trump administration was misleading Americans by portraying the operation as a counter-narcotics or law enforcement action. Venezuelan's parliament swore in Delcy Rodriguez as interim president 2 days after U.S. forces seized her predecessor, Nicolas Maduro. Following the swearing ceremony of interim leader Delcy Rodriguez, thousands of protesters gathered outside the Venezuelan parliament in Caracas, demanding the release of ousted leader Nicolas Maduro. To discuss the U.S. operation in Venezuela and the capture of President Nicolas Maduro, the United Nations Security Council held a meeting in New York. During the meet, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for respect of nations' political independence following a U.S. military operation in Venezuela. At the emergency UNSC meeting, the United States rejected accusations of aggression against Venezuela, saying the operation was a law enforcement action tied to long-standing criminal charges. While Venezuela's UN ambassador Samuel Moncada said international norms were at risk in the aftermath of the U.S. arrest, and also urged the Security Council to demand that Washington release Maduro and his wife. In a series of shock announcements over the weekend, Trump then declared that the United States was in charge and intends to take control of Venezuela's huge but decrepit oil industry. President Trump also dismissed the idea of Venezuela having new elections in the next month. Bureau Report, DD India.
And Thailand's army said on Tuesday its Cambodian counterpart claimed fresh cross-border fire was an accident after Bangkok accused Cambodian forces of violating a 10-day-old truce with a strike that wounded a soldier. The two countries agreed a truce on December 27, ending 3 weeks of clashes. Thai army in statement accused Cambodian forces of firing mortar rounds into Thailand's Ubon Ratchathani province. One soldier was wounded by shrapnel and was evacuated for medical treatment, it added. The Thai army said in a later statement that the Cambodian side had contacted a Thai military unit and claimed there was no intention to fire into Thai territory, adding the incident was caused by an operational error by Cambodian personnel. Now, Greenland has moved to calm public concerns amid renewed remarks by US President Donald Trump about taking over the Arctic island. Denmark and several European allies have pushed back firmly, stressed that any attempt to seize Greenland would undermine decades of transatlantic security. Here's more. Prime Minister of Greenland Jens Frederik Nielsen has assured the citizens that while Greenland seeks to strengthen economic ties with the US, they should not fear an imminent takeover. Nielsen's business but not possession stance follows a surge of renewed interest from President Trump, who recently branded the Arctic island a national security necessity. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has cautioned that US President Donald Trump must be taken seriously. She iterated that any move to take Greenland by force would dismantle 80 years of transatlantic security. Denmark emphasized that the island's future remains solely in the hands of its people.
Firstly, I believe that the American president should be taken seriously when he says that he wants Greenland. But I also want to make it clear that if the United States chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops. That is, including our NATO and thus the security that has been provided since the end of the Second World War.
European allies have sought to lend firm support to Denmark. Germany's Foreign Minister Johan Vadeful stressed that Greenland is a sovereign part of Denmark and by extension a member of the NATO alliance. He suggested that NATO may need to discuss strengthening protection for the island to deter any unilateral US ambitions. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said only Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark could decide the territory's future. France's Foreign Ministry spokesman has said that borders cannot be changed by force.
Greenland is part of the Danish kingdom, and since Denmark is a member of NATO, Greenland will in principle also have to be defended by NATO. And if there are further requirements to strengthen defense efforts with regard to Greenland, then we will have to discuss this together within the framework of the alliance.
The issue has evolved into a test of the NATO alliance. With Copenhagen standing firm and Berlin calling for reinforced protection, the world now waits to see if Washington will prioritize its strategic need for the North or the 80-year-old bond transatlantic that has secured the West since the Cold War. Bureau Report, DD India. And pressure was building for answers from the investigation into a New Year bar fire in a Swiss ski resort that killed 40 people after authorities said they had now identified all the victims, most of whom were teenagers. The Alpine Gateway of Crans-Montana in Canton of Valais united in mourning with condolences. Prosecutors said the fire that spread rapidly in the early hours of January 1st was likely caused by sparkling candles igniting the ceiling of bar's basement. Authorities are investigating the two people who ran the bar on suspicion of crimes including homicide by negligence. On Sunday, police said circumstances did not currently merit them being put under arrest and they did not see a flight risk. Now, Bolivian police dispersed a march by Central Obrera Boliviana using tear gas after protesters attempted to break through security cordons near Plaza Murillo, escalating tensions during a day of unrest in center of La Paz. The confrontation occurred near the La Paz municipal offices where scuffles broke out between demonstrators and police officers. The unrest occurred after government rolled back subsidies that for more than 2 decades kept domestic fuel prices far below international levels. The move has doubled gasoline prices and tripled diesel cost. Earlier in the day, Central Obrera Boliviana or COB leaders withdrew from government-led dialogue over the decree, citing dissatisfaction with the lack of a resolution to their demands. In response to the impasse, COB announced plans to initiate a nationwide road blockade starting Tuesday to demand the repeal of the contested decree. Now, India's official entry, Homebound, has advanced to the next round of voting in the Best International Feature Film category at the upcoming 96th Academy Awards, marking a major step forward in the country's Oscar journey this year. Homebound joins 14 others acclaimed films from around the world in the shortlist released by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The film's progression into the second round boosts India's hopes for a final nomination in one of the most prestigious Oscar categories. Sports updates now. Athletes will hope to bring laurels for their respective states and union territories as the second day of the Khelo India Beach Games got underway in Diu today. They are competing in various sports such as beach soccer, beach volleyball, beach pencak and beach kabaddi. Over 2,100 athletes are participating in the competition, which aims to promote sports and fitness among young people. Around 25 states and 6 union territories feature in the games, which runs from 5th to 10th January. The 6 medal spots are beach soccer, beach volleyball, beach sepak takraw, beach kabaddi, pencak silat and open water swimming, while Malakham and tug of war are non-medal events. And fireworks and drone show lit up the night sky above illuminated ice sculptures at the opening of China's annual Harbin Ice and Snow Festival. Thousands of tourists gathered in Harbin in northeastern Heilongjiang province on Monday to see the icy creations. Let's take a look at the Ice and Snow Festival. That's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.